With great love and great respect, we welcome all of you to the Heendu Learning Center. Remember, the Heendu Learning Center, the purpose of the Heendu Learning Center is to create awareness of your life and awareness of what's going to happen in your life and what has happened before and what is going to happen and how to correct the things in your life using mantras and using the knowledge and the life code to be able to change your life and make it better. That's the purpose of Heendu Learning Center. Our greatest graduate and assistant is Angela. She's leading this knowledge into the Spanish community to help the people understand their own self. Today I want to concentrate more on life code again because people do not know how to apply it. I think somehow they only when they have a problem then they have to apply it. So we have to learn again how to apply this life code. Today we're going to talk about why you have to wear jewelry and how the jewelry affects you and everything because of your life code, why you have to wear certain things in your body. Again, with great love, with great respect, I'm happy that you're here to join me in this session. As usual, this session is to teach you how to meditate, how to be healthy, how to make your life more prosperous, how to answer questions like, why am I poor? Why am I suffering? Or why do I have all these problems? And how to solve these problems. That's what prayer is all about. But most people don't realize that prayer is not just something religious. Prayer has to do with the mind and how you see things. And so your perception is very important. For example, one guy came and he says to me that he lost money in the stock market. And another guy came and he said he made money in the stock market. And they both invest in the same thing. But what happened is that one invested for a week, so he cashed in after a week and he lost. The other one waited 2 weeks, he cashed in and he got a profit. What was the difference? The difference was perception. The difference was how the other one says, I'm going to wait 2 weeks because that's time. He says, okay, I have time to wait 2 weeks. And my patience is 2 weeks long. And so the other one says, my patience is only 1 week, I'm going to cash in. All because of perception. All because of the way he sees time. The other one thinks 2 weeks is good, and the other one thinks 1 week is good. So one lost and one gained. So it has to do with how we see things, how we see our life. And that has to do with our mind. And how we see things with our mind, it depends on how much knowledge we have. So meditation is a way of focusing that mind so that you can take advantage of the knowledge within you or the knowledge that you need to gain so that you can make better decisions. Better decision will be better. Everybody sees a woman sometimes as beautiful because they really look at her, but someone might perceive something different and says, no, she's not as beautiful as you think. Inside might be different. So it all has to do with perception with your mind. So today we're going to talk about that, and includes learning about how to assess your number. Om Namah Shivaya means I want to be one with the universe. I want to be connected with the universe. I want to be happy, in harmony, in connection, in communication with the universe. When you're not in harmony, when you're not in communication, you're not in connection with the universe, your whole life goes haywire. Your whole life turns around and everything starts to go wrong. You lose your money, you lose your children, you lose your family, you lose your wife, you lose your husband, and your boyfriend and everything, and you start to fight, and you start to quarrel, and you start to get a lot of disturbance in your life, right? And by the way, I don't know if you know Paul McCartney, one of the Beatles, got married again the third time, right? But every time he divorced, the girls would go away with a lot of money. They would leave with a lot of money, and he never signed the prenuptial. And this time he didn't sign it again. So I guess a lot of girls are lined up as soon as this one is divorced. But it goes to show you that when you're not in communication with all that money in the world, when you're not in communication with the universe, you just live a life that is all messed up and chaotic, and you're never happy. You keep jumping and jumping from here to here. And so when you understand the universe, when you understand how the universe works and what happens to the universe, then you will live a much better life. And a couple came to me the other day, a young couple, and they were planning their engagement and marriage and so on. And she's saying, okay, well, I'm going to do this date and I'm going to do it that date. And I've known her for a few years, but I keep telling her, you have to pray. You have to pray. You have to do your prayers for marriage life and so on. And she says, okay, yes, mommy, I'll do it, but she never did it. So she called me this morning and told me the engagement is canceled. The guy doesn't want to marry anymore. Of course, I expected it. But she didn't expect it because she was so busy trying to plan the wedding and plan and go out and have fun and enjoying life that they forgot that the universe has an order. They forget the universe. Now, how do you know the universe has to have an order? The sun rises every day, right? There was a great poet called Pradeep in our Hinduism. His name was Pradeep, great poet. Steve would know that poet. And he sang a song and he says, the sun will never change. The moon will never change. But who changes? Man changes. Right? Man changes. So what happens now is that the idea is that we are all off the time, we are off the universe. And if we are off the universe, our life goes haywire. And right now, that's what's happening. Right, that's what's happening. Now, I'll show you that even the United States have a cycle. There's a reason why we have a president like that, because of the Lifecode cycle, because of the cycle of the universe. Right? And you'll see also that just like the sun, which rises and falls every day, or which rises and goes down every evening, just like the sun and the moon, which rises every month and gives you the full moon and new moon and the phases, you also have that in your body and in your life. You also have that cycle in your life. So everyone is going through the cycle all the time, right? So when someone comes and they are supposed to, they're planning a marriage, and I look at the cycle and I see the cycle is bad, I say, don't get married, right? But sometimes they don't pay attention, and so what happens? Disaster. When a guy is fooling around, and he says to me, no, Swami, don't say anything. So, of course, confidential relationship, I have to say, okay, I'm not going to say anything. But then in my mind, I already know what's going to happen the next year. He's going to get caught. So I said, okay, yes, I'll keep your secret. But he runs to me the next year and says, oh boy, he got caught. My wife caught me. So the whole idea is that when you are doing something, think of what you're doing in the harmony of the universe. Don't think that the universe is not watching. The universe is watching all the time what you're doing. Now, when a husband comes to me or a wife comes to me and says, this man is behaving very bad, right? This guy is not paying attention to me. The first thing you have to look at is what? in the mirror. Look in the mirror. And see, and ask the question, why I am having this problem? Everybody is ready to point it to somebody else and say it's the guy's fault or it's the girl's fault, but never at their own self. If everybody can take responsibility for that, they will never have a problem. The Congress blames the president blames the Congress blames the court, and everybody blames each other, but nobody takes the responsibility. The head man is supposed to respond for everything. So the whole idea is that we constantly look at each other, and we don't take upon ourselves, what we have to do. One time there was this old man, he's a priest, and he was living in a church. And next to the church, a secular iglesia, is a prostitute. So every day, he's watching the men go in to the house, the priest. So he got upset one day. He called her and he says, my daughter, you are doing a very wrong thing. All these men are coming to your house. And the girl asked for forgiveness. She repented, and he blessed her, and then she went back. But a few years later, it started again. The priest is looking over and he sees all these men going in again. So he says, so every time the man goes into the house, one man goes in the house, he takes a stone and he piles it up. And so after about 200, 300 stones, a couple of years, and then she got older, he couldn't take it anymore, so he called her back again, and he says, you know what? You have done such a wrong thing, as a prostitute, you are going to go to hell. So she cried, and she died a couple of days later. And a couple of days later, he died also. So they went to heaven. So when they got to heaven now, at the door, Abraham was at the door, as usual. So Abraham says to the priest, you can't come in here. She can come in here. And he said, wait a minute, hold a minute. She's a prostitute. And I'm a priest. What can I go into heaven? So Abraham says, well, she was born as a prostitute. And you were born as a priest. But you were so busy watching her, you forgot to pray. So you got to go down there back. And she did her duty as a prostitute. So she comes in. She was born to do that. So we are so busy looking at the other person, looking at the other people, that we forgot our own karma, what we have to do. Our duty we have to do. So we need to take more responsibility for ourselves in our thing. And that's why we have the life code.